everybody, thanks for joining us today for our Shoosmiths live video. Today I'm going to introduce you to Daniela, and we're going to talk to you about equality and inclusion in law firms. It's a really important topic to us at Shoosmiths. It's something that we're really passionate about, and we want to make a difference in the legal industry, but as well as obviously for our own firm. We've invested a lot in our health, well-being and diversity team recently, and that is growing, so that's fantastic news and shows part of our commitment to increasing awareness of diversity and well-being in the legal sector. So I'm going to get into that a little bit more in a second, but if you haven't met me, I'm Sam Hope and I'm the graduate recruitment manager at Shoosmiths. I've been here for 8 years now, and during that time I've seen massive changes in both the legal industry and at Shoosmiths. So like I mentioned, we've now got a health, wellbeing and diversity team, which is fantastic. It has been a hot topic in graduate recruitment for some time now, certainly as long as I've worked in recruitment, which is over 12 years. And I think far from being a repetitive issue, it's fantastic that we are still talking about it because we're still raising awareness, we're still trying to tackle a problem and find a solution. So we always start our videos with a question to you. So I would like to know today what your favourite city is, and that could be a city either in the world or in the UK. So I'm asking that because we're filming in a new location today. We're in our Reading office, and we will be posting a couple of snapshots of our office onto our Instagram story and Facebook later today. So make sure that you take a look at those after the video today. So just pop your comments into the comment box below the video. We will be taking your questions throughout, and you can ask a question at any time and we'll come to it. We do normally have a slight delay, so it's great if you can get your questions into the comments box now. By the time we come around to answer them, they'll be waiting for us. Daniela, do you have a favourite city?
I do. My favourite city is Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, and why is that?
I went to university there, and the scenery, the beach, obviously Gun Wharf, shopping centre we all know. Yep. It's lovely, and I generally love being there, especially in the summer. It's lovely. Yeah,
I have to agree. I do quite like Gun Wharf shopping centre down in Portsmouth. Favourite city, I best answer that as well. So I would actually choose Edinburgh. I just absolutely love it up there, and we have an office in Edinburgh as well, so it's a really good excuse to get up to that city and enjoy some time. There's just so much to see, particularly the Edinburgh Gin Distillery, just putting it out there. It's quite a good place to go to. Okay, so today I'm joined by Daniela, and she's going to introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her background.
Okay, so Shoosmiths is my very first legal job, and I've been part of the team at Shoosmiths for over 2 years now, and I started my journey in commercial debt recovery. I'm currently in the commercial real estate department, and I'm state school educated, and I achieved all C's in my GCSEs. And in terms of my family, I haven't really had anybody who had any connections to anybody in law or indeed any professional company, and I never really had any legal work experience or any volunteering experience, purely because I spent most of my spare time that I had working a part-time job to survive.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you, Daniela, for giving us that background. So I wanted to ask you before we go on, you've been at Shoosmiths for a little while now. What's your favourite thing about your role?
So one of my most favourite things about my role is that I'm exposed to really great, good quality work. It's really varied, and even though I'm very junior in the team, I'm given a really great deal of responsibility. Whilst that is supervised, I'm trusted to run my own matters, talk to clients, so it's fantastic.
Fab, thank you. So that's enough about us. We want to know something about you. We always ask you to get involved in our videos. So today we would like you to share with us your hobby. So if you've got a hobby or an interest outside of work, outside of academia, then just pop it in the comments below, just in one word or a sentence. So I always really love reading about people's interests and hobbies outside of work in academia on application forms and talking to candidates about those at events. It just makes the conversation a lot more interesting, and I think there's so much more to life than law and work and study. So it's really important to us that you do have those external interests to show that you, I guess, are a well-rounded person. So Daniela, do you have a hobby?
I do. So both my parents are Italian, so I really enjoy cooking, experimenting with recipes, and also go to the gym quite a lot just to work on my fitness.
Yeah, fab. So I really enjoy like social media and blogging. I don't feel like I get enough time to do it sometimes now that I've got a little boy, but it's something that I'm trying to be a bit more proactive in getting things done with. So I guess that would be what I would list as my hobby. Okay, so moving on then. Just to remind you, you can ask questions at any time in this video and we'll be able to answer them for you. We do answer your questions after the live broadcast as well, so we jump back on the video and answer any questions. So if you're watching this after the live broadcast, you can still ask something. I want to make it known that we are an equal opportunities employer, and our aim is attracting candidates from a huge pool of talent. It's really important for us as well to make sure that candidates from underrepresented groups feel comfortable to apply for a role in the legal industry, but particularly obviously at Shoosmiths. We partner with a number of external organisations to make sure that we're able to get this message out there adequately. So one of those is Aspiring Solicitors. You might have heard of them or be a member of them. And they are an organisation committed to increasing diversity in the legal sector. They have some fantastic events and fantastic support and coaching opportunities. So if you haven't had anything to do with Aspiring Solicitors, then do type them into Google. We'll share the link on the video comments for you to have a bit more information about them as well. We are also running a Facebook Live session with the founder of Aspiring Solicitors, Chris, on the 17th of October, and that event is listed within our Facebook page, so do find that event and click going if you'd like a reminder about that. That'll be a really interesting one to watch. So of course, although we want to attract a wide range of people to apply for Shoosmiths, it's really important that you're still able to show that you've got the skills and attributes that we expect of a trainee solicitor. And hopefully the video series that we're running is enabling you to understand more about that role and more about what's expected of you during that recruitment process. So now I'm going to ask Daniela some questions about how she's felt coming through her career and how she got to Shoosmiths. I hope that she's going to have some really great insights to share with you, which you'll find really useful. So Daniela, at the beginning of this video, you shared your journey through education and how you came to Shoosmiths. But have you ever felt out of place because of your background?
Yes, I absolutely have. Throughout secondary school and university, I definitely felt out of place because of my background. A lot of the people that I knew, they already had legal work experience, they already have carried out some volunteering, they had people in their family who were lawyers, or they had a connection to somebody, and I immediately felt disadvantaged, and I felt, compared to others, like I didn't stand a chance. And I sort of felt, on top of all of this, where my family aren't academic in the slightest, I felt really alone and I felt really unsupported. And it was quite a difficult time for me. And it got to the point where I was in such a rut because I was constantly comparing myself to other people and what they had and who they knew, that I almost just gave up. I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I sort of got through it by thinking, right, what am I actually good at? And if you're feeling this way, or if you know anybody that is, think about something that you think you're good at. And it can be something so simple. For example, the way that you talk. If you talk in a calm way, you may be able to make people feel at ease, or you might be able to make people laugh. That's a great thing. It's something that you can utilise in your applications. For me, it was my ability to basically talk to anybody about absolutely anything, and that's something that I pulled on all throughout my education and my career to date. So when I applied for my job at Shoosmiths, even then I had the niggles about whether I'd get the job, and I was really worried about the people that were applying, what was on their CV, what would they be like, and even then I was still comparing myself to others. But despite my thoughts throughout the whole process, I made sure I was honest. Earlier I touched on how I didn't really have much legal work experience, and I touched on that in my interview, and I explained why. I said, I have to work part-time, I have to survive, and that was taken well. And that's something that Shoosmiths as a firm prides itself on, is our honesty and integrity, and it's something that went well with the interviewers. And I also think it's important to remember that whilst academia is a way that employers do gauge your professional ability, it's not the be-all and end-all, and I think charisma and personality really does stand for a lot. And at the end of the day, if you've got a good personality, it's how you're going to build relationships with your colleagues, it's how you're going to build rapport with clients, and most importantly, potentially win new clients in the future.
So a key point, I guess, from that then is make sure that you focus on the strengths that you've got. Is there anything else that you would say to candidates who might feel the same way, that they feel a bit out of place and that they're comparing themselves to other people?
Yes, I think it's completely normal to feel out of place, and I think it's completely normal to doubt yourself. We all do it. I definitely did it. But I think it's really important to remember, why are you any less deserving than anybody else? Just because somebody else has a lawyer in their family, or because somebody else has got better grades than you, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're better. You know, don't feel like you have to be a clone and you have to do certain things and put certain things on your CV just to stand out. You'll really be doing yourself an injustice by not being yourself and being honest.
So I think some people might feel that they have to act in a certain way and they have to put on a front, particularly perhaps at an insight evening or VAC scheme or at the assessment centre. And long term, you can't keep that up. But so what would you say to people that feel like that?
Obviously I felt like that a lot, and I completely understand, because when I was studying, academia was never really an important part of my life until the later stages, so I was never really in tune with what was going on, and when I went to university, compared to others, I sort of felt like my language was very basic. I wasn't as advanced as my peers. I felt like I couldn't join in on conversations because I wasn't clever enough. And by the way, big words do not mean you're intelligent. And I almost concealed my true self because I felt like I had to be like everybody else and had to speak a certain way to sound clever. And one of the great things about Shoosmiths is that we have a really fantastic, inclusive working environment, and the firm really strives to create a genuinely inclusive environment. And I for one know that because I've never felt so much like that I'm part of a team and I'm accepted, and I was really welcomed into the firm. And obviously, whilst there are professional standards to adhere to, I feel completely myself at work and I'm completely at ease with all my colleagues.
Have you ever been given any advice about trying to be yourself?
Yes, I know it's really difficult because you feel really exposed and you're probably worried about what others might think of you, and that's fine because I felt like that as well. But just remember, law firms, they don't want carbon copies. Don't change the way you speak like I did just to sound clever. And one thing that I'll always remember, a family law judge, his name was His Honour Judge Levy, once said to me, the most intelligent convincing person he ever met was somebody who spoke the most simplest English. And that was to date the best piece of advice I've ever been given.
Yeah, that's really nice. So a common misconception that we hear a lot about is that law firms and professional services only take candidates who have been to Russell Group or Red Brick universities, and if you're not a high achiever from one of those universities, you don't have a chance of getting into law. And at Shoosmiths, we don't believe that that's the case. We think that intelligence is measured by far more than simply your academics or what university you went to, and that's why we don't score or we don't look at the university that you attended on your application form. And we also do CV blind interviewing at assessment centres so that we can try and rid our process of any of that unconscious bias. But do you think that this is a concern for candidates? Like maybe they don't feel clever enough if they didn't go to a Russell Group uni?
I would suspect there are people out there that definitely feels that way. I definitely felt that way, and I just want to make it clear that maybe if you don't understand things as quickly as others, or if you feel like you're asking too many questions in comparison to others, you feel like you might get judged, or you're not understanding things more quickly enough. And that's definitely not the case. When I was at university, I always felt pressured to understand things really quickly, and I felt as if I asked questions, my tutors or my peers might think I'm stupid, but that's definitely not the case, and the only stupid question is the one you didn't ask. And a day never goes past at work where I don't ask a question. Even the partners who are 20 plus years qualified, even they ask questions, and at the end of the day you are responsible for your own professional development, and I think that asking questions is a sign of intelligence and acknowledging what you don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're always encouraging for people to ask more questions, and that's part of what our Facebook Live videos are all about as well, is that there's no stupid questions. Ask us. That's exactly what we're here for. We really want to provide you with the best opportunity to learn about law, learn about a career in law as a trainee solicitor, and get the most out of it. So that's been some really fantastic advice. Thank you so much for sharing it. So I'm going to jump on and just find out if anybody else has asked us some questions. But before I do, if you relate to how Daniela's been feeling throughout her career, then just press the like button now to let us know. And if you've got any questions, if you could just type them into the comments box for us. We're going to come on to that in a second. So I just wanted to say before we go any further, Daniela, you just actually just received a training contract offer, didn't you? So congratulations, massive congratulations. So Daniela just came through our assessment centres and received that offer from Shoosmiths, and you start in a couple of years, 2020, so a few years away still. And when I spoke to Daniela on the phone to let her know about the offer, she said to me that it was life-changing, that she never expected to be in this position. And that's just so heartfelt, such a lovely thing that you said. And for me, that makes my job worthwhile, being able to be a part of making that life-changing decision for you. So that's great. And thank you for now being on Facebook Live. So let's have a look at what you guys have been asking us. So Becky has said, that's great advice, don't be a robot. Yeah, absolutely. So be yourself, because that's the thing that's unique, is you. So that's what we want you to stand out. Hassan says, Daniela, what sort of responsibilities are you given in the real estate team?
So I'm given varied work, basically the day-to-day runnings of matters, so liaising with the clients, obtaining instructions, drafting documents, reviewing the client's current position, or it may be something a bit more simpler than that. For example, I deal with one of our clients' admin side of things. For example, just making sure reports are up to date and things like that, and I'm their first point of contact in that respect. So the responsibility is excellent in real estate, and generally throughout the firm. I think Shoosmiths sort of give us responsibility at a very early stage, because they want us to be the best version of ourselves that we can be, and the best legal advisors that we can be.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that's great about working here.
Yeah. So yesterday we ran a Q&A over on our Instagram story, and somebody asked us, or they said that they found it difficult to get paralegal roles, and they were finding they were being told that they didn't have enough experience to be a paralegal, but they couldn't get the experience. So my advice in that respect would be to broaden your view of working in a law firm. There's a huge amount of different types of jobs that you could do within law, as well as a paralegal. There's legal assistants, case handlers, trainee case handlers. You could work within HR teams, IT, finance teams, for example, and any of those roles within a professional business, and particularly in a law firm, are going to be really fantastic for you to build your experience. One of our current trainees in this office, actually, he used to work in the post room. So, and that's how he got to know more about the firm. He went off and finished his studies and then came back through our assessment centre process. So there's a starting point for everybody, and I think it's so easy to think that, look at partners and look at people in senior positions and think they just had everything so easy for them. But actually, when you understand people's journeys, it's not like that at all. So let's have a look. So Marek, he said his hobby is playing guitar and recording music videos for social media. So maybe we could team up, Marek, for a ShoosmithsLIVE music session. Georgina says, how does Shoosmiths promote equality through its day-to-day practices? Do you want to take that, Daniela, or should I?
Should we both?
Yeah.
So I think Shoosmiths promotes equality through their day-to-day practices by the way that my colleagues deal with me. So it's through the questions that I ask. You know, if I think it's a stupid question, I'll always be told, no, it's not a stupid question, and I'm dealt with very patiently, and I will never be judged for anything that I ask, and I will never be treated differently just because of my background, because everyone's aware of it, and I think that's implemented every day, so I'm very pleased with that.
Yeah. I think one of the fundamental differences about Shoosmiths is that our culture really comes from the inside out. It's really easy for any type of business to describe themselves in a certain way on the website, at law fairs, but actually, and people say like, well, we're doing well-being and we're doing diversity, but it doesn't really work like that. You need the culture inside the firm first before you can, I guess, branch out. So in my role as graduate recruiter, we could have an incredibly diverse and equal recruitment system. We could be bringing people in from all different backgrounds, and then when those people join the firm, if the partnership was not on board with that, then that wouldn't be gelling. They wouldn't be expecting perhaps that we were doing that. And then therefore later down the line, when the NQ positions were coming out, we perhaps wouldn't be hiring people. So you've got to have the support internally first. And I think one of the things that I mentioned earlier was our commitment to equality was having a team that is committed to it. So that's fantastic. And the other thing I think is that a lot of diversity and equality, and the reason it's the forefront of our minds is because it's expected by clients. They want to know that they're working with a firm who is good, and who does good and takes pride in the way that they do things, not just to get the job done. So I think that that's a really important thing to note as well, is a lot of things that we do as a firm are driven by our clients, because we want to give them a great experience. So Andrea said her hobby is playing the piano. Thank you, Andrea. Hassan said he met his mentor Adam, who's a trainee solicitor at Shoosmiths, through Aspiring Solicitors. So that's fantastic. Good plug for Aspiring Solicitors there. We will share that link afterwards. So Prince has asked, could he have the LinkedIn links, which I guess, yeah, we're both on LinkedIn. You can go and find us on there. Both of us post quite useful information about Shoosmiths and careers advice. Daniela is also a professional ambassador on the Aspiring Solicitors website. So what that means is you can go to the Aspiring Solicitors website and then search by law firm, so find Shoosmiths, and you'll find a whole host of people that work for us who are professional ambassadors. And that website gives you a portal to literally ask questions, so you can contact Daniela in that way to ask, I guess, anything.
Yeah,
so
please do.
yeah, and we'll share that link as well. Mandeep says, hi Daniela,
Hello.
with limited legal experience and your background, how did you manage to secure a role at a firm like Shoosmiths? Considering CVs is the first thing firms go by.
So before I joined Shoosmiths, I had 5.5 years of work experience in retail, and that is something that I really plugged on. And I don't think anyone should dismiss part-time jobs whether you worked in retail or any other alternative to law. There are so many skills, and I'm sure you'll agree, Sam, that you can pull from those types of jobs. And you can quite easily sort of compare that to the skills that you need to work in a law firm, or that's relevant to the role that you're applying for. Obviously, if you need any more help or any further assistance, please do contact me via the Aspiring Solicitors link, and I'll be happy to help you.
Yeah, and I think perseverance. Just keep trying.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just might not be your time. So just keep saying yes to opportunities. Think about open evenings, open days that you can attend. Law Careers Net run a student conference towards the end of this year in Manchester and in London. They have a lot of law firms attending. Shoosmiths of one of them. We run a number of different workshops at that event, and it's such a good opportunity for you to develop commercial awareness. And I think that would be something, if you attended, would then give you really good information to talk about in your interview. And you just sound so much more knowledgeable about how a law firm works as a business and talking about the legal industry as a whole. So again, we'll share that link. We are running a Facebook Live video in a couple of weeks with Law Careers Net actually to discuss that student conference. So that's another event if you want to come back and watch us and find out more about the application process and how to attend that student conference, then do head over to the events page on our Facebook, and you can find that event and click going to get a reminder when we go live. So if anybody's got any more questions, if you just pop them in the comments now, we'll just check and see if there's any more questions that you've got for myself or Daniela. So All About Law have tuned in, and they said that this is invaluable. So thanks All About Law, thanks for sharing with your followers as well, really appreciate it. We've had a lot of supporters for our Facebook Live videos. We really appreciate you coming on board and watching us live, so thank you so much. So I think that's all of the questions that have come through. I guess I've got one more question for you, Daniela. What is your favourite thing about Shoosmiths?
It's got to be the working environment. That's one of my favourite things about the firm. Obviously, the environment is professional, but I have fun when I come to work, and I feel comfortable and I feel at ease, and I enjoy coming to work. So that is definitely up there with my favourite things about Shoosmiths.
Yeah. For me, it's definitely the people. It always sounds so cheesy when you say it, and I say it at all the events that I go to, but it is true. It's the people that we work with and the supportive environment, the culture, and that makes this such a fab place to work. So I just want to say a massive thank you to Daniela for taking part in the video today. If you like what we've been talking about, then just hit the love heart now to let us know and show us your support. I've absolutely loved talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing about your background and what's something that's really personal to you, but that I think will be incredibly insightful for people watching. We are going to now do some quickfire questions with Daniela over on Instagram TV. So if you head over there in about 20 minutes, you'll be able to see the video of us just running through some really quick, snappy questions. And I'll share the link for that in the comments as well. So we're live again on the 30th of August at 12:30, and that's when we'll be talking to Bethany from Law Careers Net all about LCN Live, the student conference. We're also going to be talking to Louise, who's a future trainee at Shoosmiths, and she was a past attendee of the student conference. So if you haven't heard about it, it's the best way to develop your commercial awareness and find out more about a career in law. So I'll share that link in the comments below. Once again, thank you so much for watching.